Hello, my name is Russell Myers, Independent for U.S. President for 2024. Before the video comes up, let me apologize for my appearance. I just got out of the shower, and I've got to be on the road very soon, so my hair's still a little bit wet. All right, so this weekend, I'm sure that you have heard that Iran launched an attack of 300 missiles and drones on Israel. Well, let's start off with this. This was a retaliatory strike. This was in response to Israel launching an attack on an Iranian consulate in Syria, an unprovoked attack on a consulate in Syria, in which 7 top Iranian military officials, including 2 generals, were killed in this strike. So this was the Iranian attack was a retaliation against an unprovoked attack. So remember, Iran and Israel are not at war with each other, no matter what the Western media wants you to believe. They're not. As yet. Not as yet. So let me bring up a few numbers for you. So it is estimated that it cost Israel $1 billion to defend against this attack. $1 billion, that's in a single day. To defend, air defense, if you're defending against an incoming missile, an air defense system has to launch at least 2 air defense missiles in response to bring down one target. Some of these are Patriot missile systems. One Patriot missile costs $4 million. So to bring down one missile, you've got to launch 2 air defense missiles, cost you $8 million. Against, well, if it's a drone, that may cost $1,000 to produce. So Iran could potentially launch 8,000 drones for the cost of Israel bringing down one target. Now, Iran has said, okay, we have conducted our retaliation, it's over. Israel is threatening a retaliation. So they are talking about retaliating against the retaliation, which was against an unprovoked attack. This isn't the first time, by the way, that Israel has attacked Syria. They have been launching one attack after another on Syria for a very long time, but especially since September. So they've attacked the airport in Damascus. Just over and over, they've launched attack after attack on Syria. In addition, this weekend, Israel also launched attacks on Lebanon. They're already in armed conflict with Yemen. Most of the Middle Eastern countries announced a no-fly zone over their territories this weekend during these events. A no-fly zone does not include missiles and drones. That's talking about aircraft. So basically, in a passive-aggressive way, most Middle Eastern countries were just taking a hands-off approach to what was happening. You can't blame them. Most Middle Eastern countries are members of the Arab League, and that does include Saudi Arabia. There were questions as to whether the United States had assisted Israel in defending against this. But it turns out, yes, the United States was involved. We had ships offshore that were launching air defense. We have a military base in Jordan, which was assisting Israel. So, yes, the United States is definitely involved. Now, Israel, as I said, is talking about a retaliatory strike. But they're saying they may not, because the Biden administration has talked to them and said, no, don't do this. This is going to cause an escalation, which is going to have drastic effects. If Israel does launch a retaliatory strike against sovereign Iran, what is Iran's response going to be? Most likely, one thing that Iran is going to do is to seal off the Strait of Hormuz. I forget the exact numbers, but something like 23% of the world's oil, something like that, goes through the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz, at its narrowest point, which is right by Iran, is only 35 miles across. So Iran can very easily seal off the Strait of Hormuz and stop all oil transport going through the Strait of Hormuz. 20 million barrels of oil per day flow through the Strait of Hormuz, through this choke point. And to give you a comparison, 20 million barrels of oil a day is basically what the United States goes through. That's what we burn through in one day, is 20 million barrels of oil a day. More clarification. The United States, yes, we are a net exporter of oil, but oil is one of our top 3 exports and also one of our top 3 imports. So, and this also comes as tar sands in Canada. The output is declining, and Canada is actually talking about stopping tar sands production by 2030. So it's declining and declining, and it's just becoming too expensive to extract it for them to bother. And then they're also, they're talking about the environmental impact, but it's funny that they're only talking about the environmental impact as the profits from it are declining. Right. So experts are saying that if Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, it would cause a 20% increase in global oil prices. I think that number is extremely conservative. I think it would be 50% or more because of panic. Just panic. Remember, OPEC Plus has already decreased production because the oil-producing countries, OPEC Plus, including Saudi Arabia and Russia, etc., they're making more money per barrel right now. And they're trying to increase their income from that oil. Does anybody think that Russia is, if the Strait of Hormuz gets shut down, that Russia is going to increase oil production to send to the West? The West, Europe has already said that they're going to completely divest from Russian oil. Why would they do that? Besides, they're making more money. The more they produce, the lower the price would go. If they maintain the same amount, they export the same amount as they are right now, they get to charge more per barrel. So no, they're not going to increase production. Why would they? Makes no sense. Let's shift. By the way, let's say it's 20%. Let's say that the price of oil goes up by 20% and just stays right there. Well, that means 20% more to put gas in your tank. To your utility bill goes up by roughly 20%. And downstream, everything you buy and pay for will increase by that amount. Your food goes up. Your cell phone goes up. Everything goes up. Does your paycheck go up? No, it won't. So this also has impact on national security. The Biden administration has depleted the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to the lowest point it has been in at least 40 years. So they were talking about replenishing this while oil was $70 a barrel or less. Well, it's about $90 a barrel right now. And yet there's no choice but to try and replenish it at that price. So you're paying more. Oh, by the way, who's making the money off of that? Yeah, it would be the oil companies. They're not going to be upset if the price of oil goes through the roof. Some people say that we can just increase our oil production, but that's not going to happen. It will take months or years to increase production. We already have a shortage of refinery capacity. So even if you pump the oil out of the ground, being able to turn it into usable products like gasoline or diesel, we don't have the refinery capacity to increase that production. And it does take years to build a new refinery and billions of dollars to build one refinery. All right, so all of this is happening also as the Suez Canal is still being sealed off by Yemen. So oil tankers already have to go down around the around southern Africa, the Horn of Africa, to get to Europe. So that doesn't impact the United States so much, but it definitely impacts Europe. So, and their energy prices are already at historic highs right now. So that's a big issue. And the more that Europe has to pay for energy and so forth, the more they become deindustrialized, and the more they pay for other items just for basic needs, the less that American exports are worth. We're not going to be able to sell as many exports to Europe. Just globally, if energy prices go up, exports go down because people can't afford to buy your exports. This is a big deal. This is a very big deal. Let's shift this, though, to not just oil, but energy. This strike happens only days after Russia has struck the largest underground natural gas storage facility in Europe, which was in Western Ukraine. They struck them a few days ago with Kinjal hypersonic missiles, and they hit those hypersonic missiles will go down into the ground hundreds of feet, and they hit the natural gas storage in Ukraine, which is impacting the natural gas access, availability in Europe. Once again, Europe is already being deindustrialized right now because of the cost of energy. Your cost of energy goes up, your cost of production goes up, your products become less competitive on the international market. German investors, industries are moving a lot of their production to China. Which is so ironic, since Janet Yellen just went and met with the Chinese and telling the Chinese that they need to decrease production because they're flooding the international market with inexpensive goods. In other words, more affordable goods. Now, why would China want to do that? Why would China want to decrease production? Can you think of a reason? I mean, really think about this. Europe is decreasing production, and Janet Yellen wants China to decrease production. What? It's like, in other words, just everybody just stop producing so that the entire world has to buy American goods. No. The world is not going to do this. Again, the cost of production in Europe goes up. Your prices for anything coming from Europe goes up. The cost of oil goes up. Your cost of everything goes up. Yeah. It is time that the United States stop all of this, stop supporting Israel, and forces Israel to sit down and have peace, active peace actions, not just talks, actions. It's time for the United States to step in and tell Ukraine to engage in peace talks with Russia. Active, productive talks. It's time for us to stop exporting weapons to the entire world. Look at the risks that we are engaging in. If we stop importing from China, what is going to happen to the American economy? If oil prices go up, what is going to happen to the American economy? This is foolish. All right. So this is all going to lead to rampant inflation. In only the last few days, the price of oil has gone up by about $10 a barrel. Look at how much a gallon of gas costs this week compared to 2 weeks ago. It's going to keep getting worse. And what is this administration doing? What is any other candidate talking about doing? Have you heard what Trump has been saying about this? That he would attack Iran. No. That it is time for peace. Do you get this? It is time for peace. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. Think about these things. Really think about it. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this campaign, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day.